You want to get on the action? We want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd.
Well, it's a big show.
Welcome to The Fade Route
It's a big bad show tonight.
with DNZ.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Here are your hosts,
Cracking up, telling them lies.
DNZ. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of The Fade Route with DNZ. I am Z, and we got a great show for you. We're ordering up the American League Central. We're talking about LeBron's foot pop, and that's gotta be Kane. But we begin with the story out of Georgia. Former Georgia star Jalen Carter, right, one of the top prospects, possibly the number one overall pick in next month's NFL draft, has been charged with reckless driving and racing in connection with a crash that killed not only his teammate, Devin Willock, but also a recruiting staff member, Chandler LaCroix. Now, racing was involved, alcohol was involved, high speed was involved, right? In the state of Georgia, reckless driving and racing are both misdemeanors. So this is potentially huge in terms of what the impact is on Mr. Carter's life. But it is important to note that two other people's lives were taken in this incident. In this incident, two people were killed, right? Now, there are multiple wrongs here, right? You're speeding, you're racing. The driver of the second car was over the legal limit. She was almost double the legal limit in terms of alcohol consumption. So, there is no right here. There is no right, there is no wrong. Everybody here is at fault, right? Everybody here is at fault for what is going on. There are different degrees of fault, but there's a definite issue here. And judgment is definitely something that you need to call into question. And it's very sad that two people have lost their lives. Now, as the sports world goes and how the sports world turns, immediately the fickle nature of it is, how is this going to affect his draft stock? Which is preposterous, right? Considering the fact that people just lost their lives. But in this commodity type industry, where players are sometimes treated like very highly paid cattle, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Well, what's going to happen? You know, he was consensus number one. Chicago was going to take him, but now Chicago might not take. People start to project that and kind of lose the bigger picture. Encourage your child to imagine what the world would be like if we didn't have such callous behavior. It's very callous. We're going to resist that, or at least we're going to try to, right? We're a sports show. Eventually it's going to come up, but we need to resist that kind of behavior and really take into account that two people are dead. The person who is alive is affected by this, possibly irrevocably. We don't know him, We don't know how this is going to affect him, but we need to keep an eye on this, and we need to spin forward ideas of name, image, and likeness. Is this too much too fast for student athletes? Pandora's box is open, but is the flood too strong? Especially in a big-time SEC school like Georgia, where you were getting everything you wanted to begin with, and now it's legal. Like, that's something that needs to be questioned, right? One of the people worked for the school. She was on the recruiting staff. That's a school employee. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy on many levels. But we're going to see where this shakes out and where it kind of spins forward. But I think it's important that we remember, especially as we're going into the combine and we're going to talk about it, like, this is something that is going to hang over this athlete. And we're going to see, we're definitely going to see how Jalen Carter recovers from this. And here he is. I've known this guy since our days on Carousel Shoes flight crew through and through, the last QB in St. John's history. What's up, D? How's it going, man?
Hey, yeah, I mean, it's tough to start out the show on such a somber note. The problem is kids are reckless, man. Like, I've been there. I've definitely gone faster than I should have. I've drank and drove when I shouldn't have. People make mistakes, and in my situation, I was fortunate enough where I never hurt anybody and I never got hurt. But, these are kids that, because of how good they play football, because of the school they go to, and because of the success of the program, this is in big shining lights for everybody to see. And, he's a guy that they're saying he was a part of it because he was racing.
Mm-hmm.
And now this affects his life in a negative way. Not just in the forms of playing football, but I'm sure there's a part of him that feels tremendously guilty about what happened. At however old he is, 18, 19, 20, 21, this is going to weigh on your conscience because of poor decisions that were made. And it's just a shame, and we talked about this in the production meeting, but it's hard to believe that name, image, and likeness isn't a part of this. Schools being able to pay players, or boosters being able to pay players, isn't a part of this. It's hard to believe that betting isn't a part of this. It's hard to believe that all of the negative culture that surrounds college sports didn't play into this. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe this all happened on the day of the parade, or the day after the parade, or something like that. That they're celebrating because they won a national championship, celebrating until wee hours in the morning, where a person who's twice over the limit is driving a car over 100 miles per hour. Like, what the fuck, man?
And we've been talking about it. We've definitely mentioned it in our production meeting, but how many guys have had this happen to them, where you're combining alcohol and reckless decision making at high speed, and now all of a sudden, like, you've taken a leg.
Yeah, and there's no do-overs, man. Like, you don't get to do that over. I remember, I've been told many times, nothing good happens after midnight.
No.
Nothing good happens after midnight. Put the drink down, call yourself a cab. It's just something that it's terrible. And, I feel terrible for all the people involved. Even Jalen Carter, 2 people that died, their families, feel terrible about it.
It's a huge ripple effect. It's a huge ripple effect.
It's never gonna go away.
Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their hoodies, snapbacks, graphic tees, accessories, and more. Season 3 merch is up now. Get it while you can. Go to fckclout.com and get all of your needs from men and women. That's fckclout.com.
But we transition over to basketball. We get into today's show with the Lakers and LeBron James. The good news was that the Lakers overcame a 27-point deficit against the Mavs over the weekend. The bad news is that James felt a pop in his foot and is feared to be out for an extended period of time. On top of that, the Lakers also lost last night to the Grizz. Street Clothes is out with a foot injury of his own. The Lakers made a few additions at the deadline, but did they do enough to overcome these injuries and stay afloat in the West? See.
We're going to find out. I mean, we're going to find out.
Oh,
that's for
they
sure.
pay you more than that saying you're going to find out. Come on.
We're going to find out.
Give a projection. See, come on. Tell us how you really feel. I'll tell you how I really feel. They certainly made moves to make their team better. They certainly made moves to get into the play-in game. They're sitting at 12. But man, you're not gonna have LeBron for the next 2 weeks, probably, and realistically, probably not until the play-in starts. You need Anthony Davis to be the Anthony Davis of like 6 years ago. Like, you need that Anthony Davis right now. And Sir Charles Barkley does not think he's capable of it. Shaquille O'Neal doesn't think he's capable of it. I don't think he's capable of it, but he can do it. We've seen it. We've seen him be a beast on the Pelicans. We've seen him dominate and score at will. But then we just see him take a back seat, man. We see him, getting in Schroeder's face for a bad pass. You got to go get the ball. Go get the ball, man. You're the big. Post up your man and go get the basketball. You could shoot, you could dribble, you could go to the basket, you could do everything. Be that guy. You don't got to be second fiddle LeBron just because what happened? Why can't Anthony Davis say, you know what? LeBron's out, but man, give me the ball. I mean, he was playing really good against it. I think he was playing really good last night against the Grizzlies. I think he had 19 rebounds. He had 28 points. He was 9 for 19 from the floor. Give that much effort and have your cast around you support you. You could average 110, 112 points while LeBron's out. You can get into that playing game. Now, what happens when you get in the playing game? I don't know. But I certainly think there's Anthony Davis gotta rise to the occasion.
When is he ever?
Never.
So at some point, you are who you are, right? Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. In the biggest moments, Anthony Davis is on the sidelines in street clothes.
But the thing is what I don't understand is what happened to him? Why did you become this inferior guy? It's because you're delicate, you're fragile. Why can't you take charge and say, you know what, I'm going to do this while LeBron's out? I thought it was interesting recently. I saw a thing where Paul George kind of admitted where he's like, I'm not the guy. I can't be, for me to be successful, I can't be the guy. And you know what? I kind of applaud Paul George for saying that, because I said that while he was with Oklahoma City, and I said that, back when he was with the Pacers, when he was trying to beat LeBron. That's just not who you are. He realized who he is. And, a lot of people get on LeBron James for that move down to Miami, but that move was because he needed help to beat Boston. He couldn't beat Boston without two other Hall of Fame caliber players. I'm not mad at him for that. That's fine. Kevin Durant's a guy that realized, hey man, I'm not winning without help. And he acknowledged that. But then don't come out and say you're the best in the world. That's when you lose me. That's when you lose a little respect when you come out and say you're the best, but you had to go get help and you had to do don't work like that, man. Don't work like that. So for Anthony Davis, this is your chance to rise to the occasion. This is the chance for you, team on your back. So you know what? LeBron's not here, but I'm gonna get us to the playing game. I'm not gonna win us a championship. I'm not gonna win us a series. I'm gonna get us to the playing game. Like, that's the focus right now. Let's get to the playing game.
Anthony Davis is mediocre. He's the very definition of an alleged superstar.
What kills me about Anthony Davis is, like, I believe Mike Wilbon and the guys have been thinking he's like a top 5 player at one point. At no point in his life was he ever a top 5 player.
He was once.
You think so?
In college.
You think so?
That was the last time he was good.
That team was so stacked. I don't know, man.
That was the last time he fulfilled his potential. And what happened? He got hurt. Oh, wow. What a story. Anthony Davis got hurt. This is his lot in life. He just accept it. Accept it. This is who he is. This is what you're going to get from him. You didn't begrudge Bill Walton when his body betrayed him. You didn't begrudge Greg Oden. You didn't begrudge Yao Ming. He's just a big friggin' dude. And big dudes break down. That's who he is. He's never going to be that monster inside presence because he's fragile. And one bruise is going to set him out for a month. That's who Anthony Davis is. Now, my bigger concern is LeBron's foot. LeBron is also a big guy. He's 6'9", 250 pounds. He now has to put 6'9", 250 pounds of pressure on his foot. He already has the immense pressure of carrying this franchise on his back. Right? Now he's going to rush back. For what? Ricky Waters once said, for who? For what? Let's look at this team. For who? For what? D'Angelo Russell. How about he step up? Right? This is round 2 for him. Get out there and show him what you're made of. Get out there and show why they traded for you. Rui Hashimura. Right? They went and got you out of Washington. Live up to your potential. Mo Bamba. They went and got you out of Orlando. Right? They brought back Dennis Schroeder. These are the guys that need to step up.
So you're saying you're taking the whole Billy Bean approach here. Replace him in the aggregate, huh?
You need to. You need to.
Billy would be so proud of you, Z.
You have to, because it's going to take a team effort. It's going to take a team effort to dig out of this, because
just to get to the play-in game, or to actually succeed in the playoffs.
Define success with this team. Define success. Because if they make it, they're going to be the 7th seed, right? They're going to draw the Grizzlies in the first round. What's success? 2 wins?
Oh, so you're okay. Yeah.
Let's define success.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's hard to say, Z. I mean, I think they should be able to beat the Grizz, man.
Especially if John Morant keeps doing what he's doing, ends up in friggin' jail. What is going on with John Morant?
I mean, really, the Kings are the 3 seed. The Kings, the Sacramento Kings, are the 3 seed in the National Basketball Association.
Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. And the team that I think is going to fall out of contention, which is going to make room for an interesting little thing, a little interesting race, the Mavs.
Yeah. The
Mavs? Let's talk about that for a second before we talk about we finish off with the Lakers. Way to go, guys. 27 points, and you friggin' blew it. Like Kyrie is bitching at Luka. Luka forgot the rules that he could go into the backcourt and get an inbounds. Like you can do that. It's legal. So
Luke will also
bitching
be
at the
complaining a lot, man. He's not playing. He's not playing two-way basketball.
no,
He's
bitching at the ref.
He's complaining too much, man. Just play the game, and he's only playing it one way. He's
Mhm.
not playing any defense at all, man.
No. And this is where Jason Kidd is going to earn his money. Like he was supposed to be the Luka whisperer.
Yeah.
Like that was his role. And if he can't get it together, because now you got Jason Kidd and you got Kyrie, right? You have two guys trying to talk to Luka. Like, who are you listening to? Kyrie or the surefire Hall of Famer?
Well, I know Mark Cuban's not happy. I mean, you saw his expression after the game.
How could you be? If
No.
you're Mark Cuban, how could you be if you're going to be doing this? But they could be plummeting out of the playoffs. So that moves the Wolves up, that moves the Jazz up, that moves the Pels up, and that moves the Blazers in. Now, Dame Lillard can't score 71 a night. I mean, he could, but, like that's a lot of work. And that's the very definition of, what needs to happen. One guy on their back, right? That's what should be happening. But I don't know if it's sustainable. So realistically to me, it's a three-way. And really it's a two-way because I really don't believe in the Mavs. It's Blazers and Lakers for that final 10th spot.
All right.
I can, now the Lakers are 5-9 without LeBron, right? And if they're not going to have LeBron and they're not going to have Anthony Davis for the remainder of the season or the foreseeable future, these guys need to step up. Jared Vanderbilt's stepping up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one guy. That's one. Now you need to start. The other guys need to come along. Austin Reeves.
He's good. He
need-
gives
he
a lot of
needs to be-
effort. A lot of effort.
He gives effort. You need more. Like everybody, it's time. Lonnie Walker, you were a very good player in San Antonio. Like it's time for you to come in and time for you to ascend. Right? This is why it is time. It's why they got you. This is why they got you. Now you need to go in and now you need to make it happen. But what do you think? Do you think that, is that reasonable or is this something, are they really just fighting for the 10 seed or like, can they actually, can they survive long enough to get LeBron and Anthony Davis back in the playoffs?
It really just depends on matchups, right? That's why I keep saying I think the step is just like let's get into the play-in game. Like that's step one, all right? And then you can figure it out from there because I do think they could win a series against the Grizzlies. I'm not scared of the Grizzlies. The Nuggets, they propose a problem. I don't think they're gonna beat the Nuggets. So, and then as far as moving on down the line, certainly they could beat a Kings team. I think you play a Suns team. No, I don't think so. Play a Warriors team. No, I don't think so. Clippers.
With healthy Splash Brothers? Absolutely not.
Clippers, I don't think so. So, you just go down the line. So, just get in and figure it out from there. Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood. In other news, the NFL Combine is this weekend. And the Chicago Bears are already making headlines. Adam Schefter is reporting the Bears are inclined to trade the number one overall pick rather than remain in the top spot, signaling that the organization believes in Justin Fields. But see, who will take the bait and move ahead of the Texans to draft the best quarterback in this draft?
Well, it won't be the Broncos, right? I think we can agree on that the Broncos
Who are the Broncos? Do you mean the Denver Saints? think you're referring to the Denver Saints. You know.
Yes, I am, and I'm figuring. They figured it out. They figured out their quarterback at least. Contractually.
Just a side part on that a little bit. It's very interesting how ultimately Russell Wilson got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Reports are that he wanted to have John Snyder and Pete Carroll fired so that they could hire Sean Payton and bring in all of his. And if you remember, when Russell Wilson was looking to get traded before the season 2 years ago, one of the places he wanted to go to was the Saints.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Interesting. Very interesting how he's getting everything he wants now in Denver. But,
everything he wants, he better start giving a return on this investment. Because if he keeps doing what he was doing last year, he's not long for Denver. I don't care what they're paying him. Like, you cannot deliver, as many touchdowns as you do toilets. You just can't do that. You can't do it.
But anyway, back to the quarterback.
So, and also congratulations to Coach Westhoff, special teams coach of the Denver Saints. So, we figured it out as soon.
Friend of the program.
Friend of the program. We figured it out when you laid those breadcrumbs that you were in Denver meeting a friend. We knew, but we were letting you make the announcement, Coach. Congratulations, and hopefully we can have you on again. But as far as who's trading up, you figure whoever you hear, Houston's getting worked, right? You figure that this is just an opportunity to try and make the Texans blink. So you hear the Colts. I don't necessarily buy the Colts. Like, the Colts have a good team. Like, they have a fairly good roster. They have Jonathan Taylor. They have Pittman. They have guys on that. And I don't think you take a step back with a rookie quarterback. I don't necessarily think you go that way. Now, does Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay has Kyle Trask. Exactly. So, does Tampa Bay get in the mix? Maybe. But whoever you hear, whatever you hear bubbling right now, this is designed to spook Houston into making the trade. Number 2, and more picks for the number 1 overall pick, so they ensure that they get Bryce Young out of Alabama. Now, this could also be just a smokescreen. This could be an absolute smokescreen. Like, they could take Jalen Carter still. They could take Will Anderson. If they don't get a deal that they want, they don't have to make a trade. They don't have to.
Oh, I disagree, Z. I disagree. I think they're moving this pick, dude.
They don't have a good return.
They're going to get a good return. What would make you think they're not going to get a good return on this? It's the number 1 pick in the draft. You're going to get Bryce Young. Okay? You're going to get your choice of quarterback. Why would you think they're not going to get a good return? And what do you think is a good return? Right? You swap in ones, a 3 and a 5, right?
No, I'm thinking more.
You want more? You want multiple ones?
You want
this year's one and next year's one and a 3?
I want the RG3 package.
Oh, of course you do.
If I'm a GM, I want the RG3 package. I want the Ricky Williams package.
You want the platinum deal. You want the platinum.
Exactly.
You want the platinum deal.
And I want stock options.
Damn it.
I have the leverage. I have the pick. You need to convince me.
You need to woo me, motherfucker.
That's right. You need to wine me and you need to dine me. Because at the end of the day, I can turn around and I can just take Devin Weatherspoon from Illinois. Like, I could take Tyree Wilson. I could take whoever the hell I want. I got the pick. Right? I have the pick. I have the leverage. I have what you want. So, if I'm the Colts, or if I'm the Texans, or if I'm the Panthers, I need to talk turkey, and I need to put a representative offer on the table. I need to ensure that I get this pick. If I believe in Bryce Young or Will Levis or CJ Stroud, whomever. But I think Levis and Stroud are going to be there later in the top 10. They're going to be there. So who's willing to make? Who's willing to do the desperate thing? Who is desperate enough to make this trade that is not named the Denver Broncos? That is the question. And you got to think the Panthers. Like, you think the Panthers, because David Tepper, he's a temperamental man. I don't know necessarily, especially if he's listening to Frank Reich, he may decide that, look at my roster. I really don't have much here, right? I traded McCaffrey. I traded Robbie Anderson. Like, I traded a lot of my offensive weapons. Like, I can work with Bryce Young.
All right, well, see, let's first talk about the top 4 quarterbacks, right? We're talking about Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson, right? Hands down, top 4 guys,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the Panthers are picking at 9, right? So, really, who ahead of them are you really worried about taking 4 of these guys, right? Because if you're the Panthers, are you really going to be upset if at the end of the day at 9 you walk away with Anthony Richardson? Are you going to be upset about that? I don't think you are. And if you're the Raiders, are you really going to be upset if you get Will Levis, which I think would be perfect in their system? That's the problem. Is like, you see, Houston's taking a quarterback. Boom, no doubt. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, 100%. Someone's going to trade up to the number 1 spot to get the other guy. But Arizona ain't taking a quarterback.
No.
Are the Colts going to take a quarterback? Do they really have to? I don't really think they do.
I think they're signing Jimmy G. I think that they're getting that. I think they're going to get in there.
Seattle could totally stick with Geno Smith. Detroit's got their guy. So really, you're going to get one of the top 5 guys at 9. Just what I'm thinking from a Panthers perspective. The only hang-up I have for me is I'm thinking the Raiders. See, I'm one of those. I think the Raiders are in on Rodgers, but at some point they're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's trade some draft picks and just get the number 1 quarterback in the draft, Bryce Young. That I could totally see happening with Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. And the way they'll spin that is they'll say, hey, you know what? Remember all the bad mess-ups we made in the past? I can get this right. This is the guy. Look at Jalen Hurts. Look at Mac Jones. This guy is going to be able to play quarterback in the NFL, right? That's the only team that I could see trading up for 1. But that's who I see doing it. But see, who really should trade up for number 1?
Who?
The New York Jets. That's who should be trading up for number 1. Forget trading for Aaron Rodgers.
You're trying to kill me. Oh my God.
Forget signing Trash Carr. Go get the future of the organization. If you're gonna trade all these things to the Green Bay Packers for Aaron Rodgers, why not trade the same stuff to get the number 1 pick in this draft and take Bryce Young? See, am I crazy?
Yes.
Why? Why would it make more sense to trade all of your assets and draft picks for Aaron Rodgers, which you're going to get for 2 years, when you can go and get Bryce Young, who is well ahead, came from a big-time program, big-time organization, won a national championship? Talk to me.
Do we really need to go over the Jets' ineptitude with developing quarterbacks? Do I really need to go through the history lesson again?
So all it is like we need a veteran. Doesn't matter who the veteran is. We can't teach people how to play quarterback in the NFL. So I need a guy who can play quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't matter that he's a sub 500 record. It doesn't matter that his own team doesn't want him back. That's where we are with this organization.
This team is built to take the next level. Taking a rookie quarterback is setting yourself back. It's restarting the clock. Zach Wilson was a mistake. I think everybody in that building believes that Zach Wilson is a mistake. Everybody in that building believes that Zach Wilson was a mistake. Do they necessarily want to go down that road again? I don't think they do. I think that they would rather mortgage the future for a shot at instant success. Now, that doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers, right? Because Aaron Rodgers, he is as fickle as it comes, right? He can turn around now that he's come out of darkness, and he can say he loves Green Bay and he's going to stay there. At which point, what do you do? Like, what are your options? To me, Jimmy G is a better option than Derek Carr. Now, are you going to pay Jimmy G? That's the question. Injury history, like, are you going to be comfortable turning the keys over to Jimmy? Especially with the offensive line that's not the best in the world. I would say that's more palatable to me than another 4 years of do we have the guy? Because that is the very definition of insanity. The one time you broke the mold is when you traded for Brett Favre. And there was a modicum of success until he hurt himself.
Stop.
What was their record?
Stop.
They were winning.
Who won the division that year?
Because Brett Favre got hurt.
Because Brett Favre was thrown to the wrong fucking team.
Because he got hurt. He hurt his elbow.
No, that's who Brett Favre is, man.
He is exactly what the Jets needed. And a veteran presence, we've been saying it for years, a veteran presence is what they need. You can't keep going back to the drawing board with rookies, especially rookies coming out of college. It's not a good coach position. It's not good coach. It's not well coached in the college ranks. It's not well coached in the professional ranks. Guys like Eli Manning, who come up through that pedigree, are few and far between. Patrick Mahomes is an outlier, right? When the best coaching you're getting is coming from the Manning quarterback camp, that's all you need to know. And who they produce recently. Trevor Lawrence, who's okay. Daniel Jones, who the hell knows what he is.
He's okay.
He's okay. But
He's okay.
He had an okay season.
He's okay.
He had an okay season. He's not $45 million a year good.
No.
That's delusional.
He's certainly not $45 million a year good. But I get where he's coming from, though.
Then go get Daniel Jones.
No. I get where he's coming from because of the franchise tag. Because of how much he's going to make under the franchise tag, it makes sense for him to ask for $45 million. It totally makes sense for him.
Yeah. So he can have his $45 million, but not with the Giants. Go to the Jets.
Go to the Jets. They're a fine organization.
They're a fine, well-coached organization.
They seem to know exactly what they're doing. I swear Joe Douglas needed to be drug tested a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So if the Tampa Bay idea, we floated that, right? If you believe in Justin Fields, right, and the whole thing is we got to get him some weapons. Let's get him some weapons. If Jason Licht calls you and says, hey, we'll give you the 19, we'll give you Godwin, and we'll give you like a 4th round pick. Would you make that trade? You now have a legit number 1 wideout. No. Interesting.
No, he's injured. He's hurt. He's always hurt. He missed time last year too.
But when he's on, he gives you legit number 1. He gives you exactly what or Mike Evans. There you go. Like, if we really want to get this ball rolling, and Tampa Bay, their window's closing. I think we can all agree that the window's closing, especially now that they don't have Brady.
What's the offer with Mike Evans?
So, number 19, that one stays on the table. The 19th overall pick, Mike Evans, and a conditional 4th.
And I want the number 1 pick next year too.
That's fair. For a stud wideout?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair trade. That was a fair trade.
I want 2 ones.
Yeah. That's fine. That is fine. I would, if I'm getting Mike Evans in that deal, I'm taking that. I'm going to take that. The ones I can always flip elsewhere.
That's the whole point, right? That's
Yeah.
the whole point. Is I need to get more assets, because that's essentially what I'll do with that one. Is I'm going to flip it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I can get that, right? And then I can possibly flip it to the Rams for Jalen Ramsey. And now my defense is better, and now my offense is better.
Because I gotta be honest, I'd probably even trade out of 19.
Yeah.
I'd probably trade back again, because I need players. I need a lot of players, not just one player at 19. It's not gonna do
That's
it.
true. Darnell Mooney is not a number one. Mike Evans, that gives you a legit number one.
No, unless there's a good running back sitting at 19. But then I probably would want to take a good running back in the second or third round, so I don't have to pay him that much money.
True. You can definitely get a better running back later down the road. Looking to break into broadcast media, web development, social media marketing, or filmmaking? Then CSB is the program for you. From day one, you'll be trained hands-on by industry pros like friend of the show Rob Adams, whose goal is to get you trained and get you working in months, not years. CSB offers 8 and 16-week programs in small class sizes designed to give you the personalized attention you need. If you can make it in person, there are 5 East Coast locations. If you can't, they offer virtual classes too. How great is that? And once you graduate, you become part of the alumni network that gets you to the front of the line. Trust me, I'm an alum myself. Go to gocsb.com today, request more info, set up a studio tour, and who knows, you may very well be on your way to a career in broadcast media. That's gocsb.com, and tell them Z sent you. gocsb.com. We're talking about all this wheeling and dealing, and the NHL trade deadline is ramping up. It's very close. On Friday, we're actually going to see what happens when the dust is settled, right? Big names are moving. Patrick Kane is finally a New York Ranger. It only took him like 2 weeks. Jacob Chikrin, one of the best defensemen.
2 weeks? It took like 2 years. They've been trying to get Kane forever.
I know, but this round of negotiations was taking forever. Mostly because they need to get under the salary cap.
Yeah, they had to get somebody to pay him, because they can't afford him. Phoenix, do us a solid.
And Jacob Chikrin went from Arizona to Ottawa. You had Tarasenko go from the Blues to the Rangers. You had O'Reilly go from the Blues to the Maple Leafs. Jonathan Quick got moved. He's now a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and rumor has it they're going to ship him to the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll see what happens between now and Friday, but as of right now, who still needs to make moves before the deadline at 3 o'clock on Friday?
Who did the Bruins get? Didn't the Bruins get somebody?
They got Dmitry Orlov, and they got Garnet Hathaway. So they got depth players, but
just keep getting better.
yeah, they keep getting deeper, and they keep getting more talented.
So yeah, there's a couple of things I think I'd like to see happen. First off, I think the Stars should go out and get Tyler Bertuzzi. You know, he's cheap, and the Red Wings are looking to unload him. The Stars they've already missed on Kane, so you can go get this guy for a ham sandwich, in my opinion. And then 2 teams I think should really go after Brock Besser, yeah. Minnesota and the Penguins. The trade would allow would pave the way for the Wild to make the playoffs. And if the Penguins were to get him, they'd become more formidable against the Bruins come playoff time.
That is fair. All of those are fair. I would like to see a few more depth pieces, especially now that a team like Colorado just placed Cale Makar. He's on injured reserve. So I think they need to go out. They need to go get some defensive help. They need to go get some depth and actually, rebuild that back end because they had to go trade for Jack Johnson again. Like they had him last year, they had to bring him back in. Now, do you call up Arizona again and get like a sixth defenseman like a Patrick Nemeth?
Yeah,
Like,
they're selling. They're selling.
Yeah, they're selling. They're selling. They're trying to, make this team bad enough to
It's a
relocate
hockey
to
team
Miami.
in the fucking desert. So
Right.
yeah.
Should call it the Arizona Mirage. Like that's exactly, or the Arizona Oasis, whatever you want to call it. But, Matthias Ekholm got moved, Timo Meyer got moved, Nino Niederreiter. There are plenty of guys out there that got moved that are good depth hands. I would like to see Matt Martin get off the island. Like, I think that he's a guy that will provide you depth at forward. He'll provide you with that grit and toughness, and he'll be an anchor for you, right? He'll be one of those guys that is going to protect your best players. They would never do it. I would love Matt Martin on the Rangers. I think the Rangers need more grit. I don't think they have enough. I think they went very fancy again. They went super skilled, right? You bring in Kane, you bring in Tarasenko. There's a lot of skill. But you need some grit. You need a balance. You absolutely need a balance. Now, I would like to see a better goaltending situation come out of Vegas because Robin Lehner, like that, went south very quickly. Jonathan Quick, you may get the best of Jonathan Quick, but what are you gonna give up to get him? And Vegas, as good as they are, like they're strapped, man. They are strapped for cash. Like they shot themselves out of a cannon to try and compete immediately, and they're paying for it now. It's very much like the Rams. Like they're paying for it now. The Penguins got Mikael Granlund. That's a good move. I think that Nashville is selling too, so you can possibly pick some players off of Nashville, and they'll be better in the long run because Barry Trotz is back in the organization. Arguably the best move, right? One of the most underrated moves was David Poile retiring and Barry Trotz taking over. Because that's the identity, right? Like he's going to bring the identity back to Nashville. He's going to bring Smashville back very quickly. Right now they're 29, 23, and 6. It's okay. It's not where it used to be, right? Now, you're not going to be able to move a Matt Duchene right now. I don't think you'd be able to move Duchene, but you can possibly move. I mean, they may be able to move the sun and the moon and the stars if you wanted to try and pry Roman Josi from them. I doubt you'd be able to do that. People are trying to get Saros, Juuse Saros. Very good goalie. I don't know if that'll be able to happen. Maybe you'd be able to get Ryan McDonough. You might be able to do that. 33, older, not really part of the future. Right? A good, solid defender, plays the power play, has a good shot. Right? I think that would be worth a call, especially to a team like Colorado, right? You need defensive help. Why not? Or, hell, Rangers again. Like they seem to be going, everything seems to be pointing back to the Rangers. They seem to be trying to fill these holes, right? Their defensive core is very young. Outside of Trouba, right? You have Schneider, you have McCullough, you have Miller, who got that horrible suspension. Ben Harper. Who are these guys? Are you gonna give them big minutes in the playoffs? You're gonna have to by necessity. Wouldn't you like to have your former captain back? Wouldn't you like to? I would. And you say Pittsburgh is trying to arm up. I think the Rangers are trying to arm up too. I think they see themselves as a legitimate threat to Boston. And it'll be a hell of a matchup. That's for sure. But they need to get tougher. They need to get more on the defensive end. And they really just need more right now.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
Speaking of more, we're moving from the ice to the bright sunshine. Spring training is here, and so is the pitch clock. It's shaving off a significant amount of time. However, it's not without controversy. We've already had walk-off batter's box violations. Exactly what this was designed to do, right? It's a walk-off. Does Major League Baseball already need to tweak the use of the pitch clock?
I think it's fine for this spring training. Obviously, in the regular season, I can't see that happening. I get that they're happy that it shaved a half hour off of games. I don't see it working. I don't see it. I see it becoming more dangerous than anything else for a pitcher to pitch quicker than he's ready to, or a batter not to be in the box and being, ready. It's a mental thing to get ready to hit. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, pitchers will adjust and hitters will adjust," but not everybody is that good, right? Not everybody's that good to adjust to something you've just installed. It's not like, they started this in high school and college, or they started it, they only started it recently in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's something that someone can adjust to so quickly.
I think there's a definite learning curve to this, and particularly at the big league level, you're trying to get established veterans to change their routines. Guys that are 10 years in the bigs aren't changing their routines so readily, right? The only time you hear about this kind of stuff is when they're in slumps. Like, they'll eat something different, or they'll,
Right.
tinker with their swing, or they'll look at tape and they'll see that they're tipping their pitches, and they'll change how they have the ball in their glove. Stuff like that.
Because baseball players are creatures of habit.
Absolutely they are. Like most professional athletes, they're creatures of habit, and get them out of their comfort, and it is a struggle. Now, I can't imagine Major League Baseball being stupid enough to carry over the ninth inning pitch clock into a game in the regular season. Imagine this. It's opening day, right? Giants, Yankees, opening day. Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. Tying run on second. Aaron Judge at the plate. 3-2 count. He gets settled into the box with 7 seconds to go. That's a violation. Strike 3, Yankees lose, the Yankees lose. Or, God forbid, in the playoffs. That would be insane. And I understand that you want to enforce these rules and you want to make the game faster. You cut out all the unnecessary nonsense. Like, that will shave the time. Limiting the throwovers, limiting mound visits like we have been, limiting stalling, right? The pitching, put a timer on the pitching coach, right? so that way he's not rubbing the rosin bag and wiping his mouth and talking to the guys about what they're gonna, have for dinner. Meanwhile, the guy's getting hot in the bullpen real quick. Like those kinds of elements you need to get rid of, right? The elaborate routines, they seem to be going away, right? The most elaborate routine now is Juan Soto's crotch grab. So that's going in the right direction. A guy like Christian Javier, like the whole rockin' the baby thing. Do you need all that extra motion to settle in? I don't think so. Guys have been doing it forever. Find a new wind-up. You'll be fine. Just, there are ways to trim this down naturally. Putting a clock is only going to rush a pitcher. It's going to rush a hitter. It's a timing game. It's a concentration game. And all it takes is one pitch delivered without 100% conviction behind it. Right? GC takes one in the face. Or somebody else gets beamed in the head. Right? That's all it takes. It's a fine line. But I think as far as the pitch clock goes, I think they probably need to iron this out. I think they need to think about the higher leverage situations in late games. And they need to figure out ways to kind of make this work a little bit more, because you're not going to have this ticky-tack stuff in the regular season. You're not going to have this ticky-tack stuff in the playoffs. But there's also no room for discretion, right? It's not going to be something that you can swallow your whistle on. Everybody can see it. The clock is there. So they need to figure this out. But as it is right now, I really don't think it's a good idea. And I think that changes need to be made. Definitely. Speaking of changes, of late, there's been increasing speculation about Major League Baseball expansion and the subsequent realignment. So rumor has it, and this is according to Jim Bowden of the Atlantic, former GM, former talking head on MLB, the Nashville team and the Vegas team will be in, or possibly Nashville and Charlotte, or Charlotte and Vegas. Those are like the three top areas for relocation or expansion. You get 32 teams in and you realign. But they've proposed an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference and geographic divisions. In this brave new world, the Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, and Phillies would all be in the same division. How crazy does this idea sound to you?
Well, it definitely cuts down on travel expenses. They're all within like 4 hours of each other.
That's true.
It's tough because, you usually build your teams to defeat teams in your division. So there's a little bit of a setback there. The Yankees play the Mets every year in Subway Series. So really the Phillies and the Red Sox, would just be the addition there. I'm fine with it. I don't really care. I mean, it's interesting that the AL East has become a really good division in the last couple of years. I mean, I think the Orioles are going to be really good this year. I think the Blue Jays are going to be really good this year. But I don't think it's a crazy idea at all. I think it's time for a new realignment. I think it's time for some change. You're changing everything else. Change the divisions. Sure, why not? And you're keeping the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees. You're adding the Mets into this rivalry, which would be really fun. And nobody likes the Phillies, so that works out well.
That is true. Like, you've on Twitter, they said they confine the toxicity to one division. That's nice of them. That is definitely nice of them. But you get both Chicago teams together. There are all these. There are some fun scenarios that you can have. But then you're also losing out on some rivalries too. You know, you have the Braves. They're no longer in the National League East, right? So that becomes another instance where, you know, you've been conditioned to have the Braves in the East, and now like that just kind of changes factors, right?
Yeah, you create new rivalries. Man, although you get new players, you get young players. You start fresh, starting different, starting new.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting something new, but at the same time, it's not exactly. I mean, think about this division. You know, if you were another division, you're looking at then. If you were to realign along the Northeast, you'd have the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Pirates, the Nationals. Is another proposal, right? This was another proposal out there. I kind of like that better. Like, I think you keep them. I think you keep the Mets and the Yankees away from each other. Only come together for a little while. You know, I think you keep the White Sox and the Cubs away from each other. I think that you're better served doing that, and it makes it more special. It makes it more intense. Like
Well,
you
what
have.
what if you got rid of interleague play though? What if you go with the alignment that you like, and then you got rid of interleague play? Then you wouldn't see the Mets and the Yankees anymore.
You're gonna end up doing. I mean, it's an even all the way through, so you would get the interleague play, but I think that horse has left the barn. I think that, you know, once that interleague play is in, I can't stand interleague play personally. Like, it was a novel concept way back when you were trying to get asses in seats. But now, like, it kind of cheapened matchups, right? When we were younger, you kind of had to wait till the All-Star game to see these kind of things. Oh, what's going to happen when Greg Maddux faces Frank Thomas? What happens when Tony Gwynn goes up against Nolan Ryan? What happens when, you know, Ricky Henderson goes up against Dwight Gooden? Like, there was something to look forward to. It was something to speculate. Now it's like, oh, they're playing on Tuesday. That's nice. It's lost its luster. And you might create some new rivalries. It's possible. But there's also going to be a lot of mediocrity. Like, you're going to have on the West Coast alone. But the Angels, you have the Diamondbacks, you have the Rockies. You'll have all of these geographic conference division. You'll have this whole geographic conference. And there's going to be a lot of suck. There's going to be a lot of suck. I just don't know. I just don't know about it. And I'm really not sold on expansion either. Like, I understand the idea of it. You know, you want to open up new markets. You want to make more money. But you're diluting the product. The product is already pretty damn diluted. I mean, it would be nice for Nashville to have a team. It would be nice for Vegas to have a team. It would be nice for Charlotte to have a team. Is it something that's mandatory right now? I don't think so. I don't necessarily think so. A lot of change. It's a lot of too much too fast in terms of change, right? It seems like a lot. Universal DH. You have all these rule changes. Now more expansion, and then realignment. It's a lot. Baseball is better served in, glacial changes, like very slow. Let's do that. All right, let's just ease into some changes. We're modernizing this game very quickly, and it's becoming too modern too fast. So, ultimately, I don't think it's a fantastic idea, but this cannibalistic American League or this cannibalistic Northeast Division, it would just be an absolute shit show. An absolute shit show. In terms of toxic fans, in terms of the media coverage, in terms of fan reaction to the media coverage outside of this bubble that got created. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, workshop this one, Jim. Workshop this one.
You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. Currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester Pop Stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google.
Bullshit or no shit? We're going to debate this week's most controversial sports topics right now.
All right, boys and girls, we have a statement, and it's either bullshit or no shit. Bullshit or no shit number one. Manny Machado will play out his new contract with the Padres.
So much for him becoming a Met, huh? Jeez.
Thank God. Thank
That's
God.
wild. I mean, hey, I don't think the Padres are committed to winning, man. They're trying. They're trying. But no, I mean, I think the contract takes him up to the age of 41. Yeah, so I'm going to say bullshit. I don't think he plays out the whole contract.
41. It would take him to age 41. Now, I'm going bullshit as well. He's a consistent ball player. But he's entering his age 30 season. At what point do you start to break down? Probably halfway through this contract. The one saving grace is that the National League now has a DH. So, he could easily get another year or two out of that. But I just don't think they're going to be in contention the entire time. Throwing money at the problem doesn't always work, as we've seen. And B, I just foresee his body breaking down. That's just father time, you know? And he's a bigger guy. He's 6'3". He's a bigger dude. So does he end up at first base? Possibly. He's not going to be a third forever. So eventually he's out. He'll get close. I think he retires at 38. I think 38 is going to be Manny's number. But by then, he'll be off of third base, platooning between first and DH. And if the Padres are out of contention at some point, it's possible they could flip him. There's no such thing as an untradeable contract. You just got to be willing to plug your nose. So, he's not making the whole length. He'll get close, but he's not going to make the whole length. Bullshit or no shit number two. The Vikings are the best organization to play for in the NFL.
Where is this coming from?
So it was a poll. They actually polled
It's like one of
players.
our polls?
It's one of our polls. But J.C. Treader, actually, the one of the heads of the union, polled 1,300 players, and the top three, right? You had Miami, you had Arizona, you had Miami, you had Minnesota, but I mean, just right there, right? That's disqualified right there. That Miami and Minnesota are on the top of this list. And then at the bottom of this list, you had the Commanders, you had the Chargers.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then number 3 on this survey for best places to play is Vegas.
Yeah,
So Minnesota, Miami, and Vegas.
no pressure.
Whereas the Chargers, the Cardinals, and the Commanders were the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna say bullshit. I wouldn't want to play for Minnesota. I gotta imagine Miami's gotta be nice because of the weather. Expectations are low too, so it's gotta be fun. So I like Tennessee. Tennessee seems like a fun town. Maybe my 2 votes.
Solid. So the criteria for this: treatment of players' families, food service and nutrition, the weight room, the strength coaches, the training room, the training staff, the locker room, and team travel. With that, absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. The only reason why Philly isn't near the top of this list is because of his treatment of families. Like, they're rough. Philly's rough. We know this. But where's Kansas City? That's my question. Where's Kansas City on this list? Like, you're telling me New Orleans isn't a great place to play? Right? You're telling me that, like, playing for the Rams, like, you're in LA. You're in a huge market. Seattle's a great city. Like, I find it very interesting that these are the criteria, and I don't buy it for a second. Like, I really don't. You know? And then it's just silly. Some of these things are just silly that the Bengals don't provide nutritional supplements. Okay, so 3 of the league's 32 teams don't keep their cafeteria open for dinner. Okay, so because they offer you dinner, it's going to be on the list? Like, dude, go make dinner. Go home, see your family, and have dinner with your family. You don't need to always be in the facility. Like, we're going beyond work-life balance. That is complete work-life imbalance. And it's the Vikings. Need we say more? They're, such a great place. It's not translating to results on the field. Paper Tigers. Paper Tigers. Bullshit or no shit. Number 3. Davis Webb and Joe Lombardi will unlock the old Russell Wilson.
How did Davis Webb get a job? Like, how is he the quarterback coach? He's younger than Russell Wilson. What is his ties to Sean Payton? Like, how did this even happen? I'm going to say bullshit. I don't see how any of this is going to work. Maybe Sean Payton will have an influence on Russell Wilson, but not Davis Webb. And Joe Lombardi is just a disciple of Sean Payton, so I'm going to say bullshit. Wow, 3 bullshits for me.
I'm going to say no shit from this standpoint. It's kind of like how Andy Reid calls the plays and the OC gets the credit. Sean Payton's going to he's going to pull the strings here. And Lombardi and Davis Webb are going to get the credit. Peyton's the puppet master here. He knows what he needs to do in order to unlock Russell Wilson. Excuse me, Russell Westbrook. My goodness. Maybe he knows how to unlock Russell Westbrook as well.
That'll be all right.
Yeah. You know what you need to do? Get everybody who was Russ's guy out of the building. His personal quarterback coach, his personal PR team, anybody who is affiliated with Russell Wilson. Suddenly their key fobs don't work. You're here. You're playing for the Denver Broncos. This is how we're going to do it. That is what really needs to happen. You need to put your foot down. You need to put your foot down and let Russell Wilson know that you're not running the show. You tried that last year, and it was the worst statistical season of your career. Let me take the reins here, buddy. Let's ride.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. Here's how it goes. We put up a poll on our Twitter account at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets a shout out on this here show and the coveted ass trophy. Do you know who took home the coveted ass trophy last week? D.
I don't.
The NBA / Adam Silver for the abomination that was the NBA All-Star Game. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees, D?
All right, first up, got my boy, Joe Douglas. At the Combine, Joe told reporters that Derek Carr is a high-level producer. High-level producer of what? Music? What tape is Joe Douglas watching of Derek Carr? Is he watching like high school highlights, college highlights? Like, dude's own team didn't want him. They need to start drug testing at the Combine. Drug test everybody, not just players. Drug test the staff too. Joe Douglas, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Reports are you tried to have Pete Carroll and John Snyder fired your last season in Seattle. Both guys sided with you when they broke up the Legion of Boom, and you called for their heads. Russell Wilson, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. And last and certainly least is the Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons. Currently slotted in the 6th spot, reports are the Nets will sit Simmons the rest of the season and then buy out his contract.
Oh.
What a mess. Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons, you are my Alleged Superstars of the Week. Z, what do you got?
Yeah, those are pretty bad. Those are all pretty bad. I'm going to start with John Morant.
That guy.
What the hell is going on in Tennessee? Like, allegedly, you beat up a teenager during a pickup basketball game.
Jesus.
This was over the summer. Now, you're in the news for flashing your gun, threatening a director of mall security, and beating somebody else up. The Grizzlies are getting out of control very, very fast. I'm not sure what the hell is going on, but I think we need to fix this. The NBA needs to look into this. Because what was a feel-good story, right, of not being great for the longest time, now it's not so good. It's not so good. John Morant, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. CB Buckner, not just for being a terrible ump. I mean,
easy.
that's easy. Like that's pretty much, what you do. That's what you do. But Ollie Marmol tries to be the bigger man after you went off on him last year, tossed him from the game, and proceeded to run your mouth about how he just got here and that you've been a veteran in the major leagues. Yes, you are a veteran in the major leagues. Arguably the second worst umpire in the major leagues. So, kudos to you. And Ollie Marmol tries to bury the hatchet with you at home. Before the game, a little pregame handshake, a little pregame dap, and you snub him. What the hell is wrong with you, man? Right? Squash the beef and move on. The world knows you suck. You don't need you. The whole world knows you suck. You don't need to be drawing attention to yourself. CB Buckner, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And last but not least, Brandon Miller, you're back. So, you got your gun and gave your gun to a friend, and ultimately that gun was used to kill somebody. And then you proceed to walk out onto the court for University of Alabama basketball, and the team manager pretends to frisk you. You put your arms out, and the team manager frisks you as if he's looking for a handgun. How tone deaf can you be? Somebody was just killed. Somebody was just killed with a gun that you supplied. And that's your reaction? Son, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And you have a lot of growing up to do. Yes, you are not a suspect, but at the same time, you definitely need to mature a little bit. Brandon Miller, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we've said our piece. Go to the Twitter poll at FadeRouteDNZ and vote, and vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominees. Just do better, boys. Just do better.
Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie.
Order up!
It is time for us to continue our Major League Baseball preview and order up.
Order up, order up.
This week we are ordering up the American League Central. So, from 5 to 1, who you got, D?
Man, what an interesting division this is. Alright. So, at the bottom of the barrel, I've got the Kansas City Royals. I just don't see a lot of talent outside of Bobby Witt Jr. and Zach Greinke. It's just not enough to do anything. Okay. Number 4, I got the Tigers. I think they have slightly more than the Royals, but they're not ready. Casey Mize, Spencer Turnbull, Spencer Torkman. I think they are 2 years away. However, they need to play. They need to start playing like big leaguers. Number 3, I got the Twins. I know a lot of people have the Twins finishing 1. I certainly think it's possible. I just have a feeling Correa's gonna get hurt. Correa's either gonna have like a monster year or just not a year. Number 2.
Both things can be true.
Both teams can be true. Number 2, I got Cleveland. I think Cleveland's 2. They'll contend. I think they'll contend all the way to the end. And I think they'll probably wind up getting a wild card. I like their team. They won the division last year. And last year I had the White Sox. This year I'm taking the White Sox again. I mean, I know they lost to Abreu, but I think they have really good starting rotation. They just need to stay healthy. And they were 500 last year, and they were just hurt all last year. Like, everybody was hurt. If they have a healthy year, I think they're contenders.
That's fair. I mean, a lot was working against them last year, including the manager. Like, let's not forget. Let's not downplay Tony La Russa's impact on that. Like, that was pretty bad. So, they're going into this year with a new manager, a fresher outlook.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
I mean,
but
you got Cease. They got Kopech. You would imagine Clevenger, if he doesn't get suspended.
That's going to be a tricky situation. I think he's Trevor Bauer pending an investigation. I think you have to sit him out. Like, domestic violence and child abuse, I think you need to sit him back. That needs to be investigation pending. This is tough, right? There's not much on the Royals, right? You have, they brought in guys to kind of fill out the roster, right? They brought in Ryan Yarbrough. They brought in Jordan Lyles. They brought in guys to trade. They literally brought in guys to deal with the deadline. Like, are you going to deal Zach Greinke? Probably. Like, there isn't much here. There really isn't. Now, the outfield is nothing to sneeze at. And then you got Bobby Witt Jr. You have Hunter Dozier, who had a decent year last year. Let's see what he can do. Like, Nicky Lopez, he's kind of there all the time. He did better last year than he had in previous seasons, but I don't know. Does Salvi Perez finally get traded at age 32? Does he finally get moved on? Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't see it with the Royals. I really don't. 4th place, you're looking at the Tigers. The Tigers are just extremely disappointing. They're just designed to be disappointing. And it starts with pitching, right? Schoolball's going to miss time. Turnbull is coming back from missing time. Best pitcher on this team is Eduardo Rodriguez. He's kind of eh. Lorenzen, they're going to try him out as a starter. He's most effective out of the bullpen. I think he's better served in that role. Then you have a guy in Matthew Boyd who they're bringing back. So we're going to see how that works out. Like, what are you getting from Javi Baez? What are you getting from Scope? Is Torkelson going to have a better year? Torkelson needs to. He absolutely needs to have a better year than last year. Austin Meadows. There's a huge question mark there. What's he going to be now that he's not with Tampa Bay? Like, let's see. Like, let's take it to the next level here. Like, you have something to do here. You have something to prove. But other than that, just the presence of like an Eduardo Rodriguez makes it slightly more palatable than the Kansas City Royals. I'm going with the Guardians in third. I think they take a step back. Last year, they were very young. They were very inexperienced. They didn't know how in over the head they were. This year, there's tape. This year, there are expectations. So, we're going to see if they can rise to meet those expectations or if they're going to fold. They brought in Zunino. We'll see if that's enough. Because there aren't that many changes to this roster. So, I think last year they outkicked their coverage. This year, they're going to come down to earth just a little bit. Just a little bit. Second place, I'm in on the Twins. Like, I think that the Pablo Lopez move is going to prove to be a very good one. The rotation is solid. The pitching is there. What are you going to get from this offense? Yes, Carlos Correa is there. I understand that. The pitching is what's going to carry them. The pitching is what's going to carry them here. You can't expect Correa to finish the year, right? He's going to miss time. You can't expect Buxton. Buxton's going to get hurt. Like, he's good to miss at least 60 games. That's why they went and got Michael A. Taylor. You need somebody who can actually play the outfield. The immortal Joey Gallo is there. They're hoping, they're banking, they're praying that Joey Gallo returns to Texas Ranger form. Never mind, we're going to forget that Joey Gallo was a Yankee. They're banking on the fact that he's in such a small market now that he'll return to form. What are you going to get from Kepler? What are you going to get from Kirilloff? This team is very pitching forward, and I think they're going to do just enough. They'll make some moves, and they will definitely bolster that offense. But the perfect storm of offense, defense, and pitching is the Chicago White Sox. Up and down that roster, right? Yes, Mike Clevenger is a question mark. He is. You can't deny it. But they have more than enough to make up for him not being there if he gets Bauered. Right? That bullpen alone, very deep. You have Diekman, Graveman, Joe Kelly is there. You have, that is a deep one. Spellman's own Nick Padilla. Cardinal Spellman's own Nick Padilla. He's a non-roster invitee. Maybe he makes a couple spot starts this year. And then you get to the roster. You get to the position players. Right? Moncada, Anderson, Leori Garcia. They went and got Benintendi, right? They lost Abreu, but they changed up how they're doing things. Sheets is still there. Vaughn is still there. Robert's still there. Jimenez is still there. Loaded. It's time for the Pale Hose to live up to the potential.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.